All right, guys. So now that we've stretched our custom endpoint legs a little bit by building out the dashboard for our My Account area, we're going to go ahead and start building out more of these endpoints here. So we're going to have one for your free stuff. We can have one for your for sale posts, and then also for the lost and found items in this lesson. And then in the next one, I'm going to show you how we add a wish list feature. So these little guys over here to your Divi engine classified site. We're going to start out here on our dashboard as we always do. And for now, we're going to go into account and we'll just start adding these and then we'll start doing designs for them. So let's add them all first. So first one, I'm going to call your for sale. And keep in mind that this is what the default will be for what appears up here. So I'm just going to put that in there. I'm going to publish that one. Fantastic. And then I'll come back here, add another one. And then we'll say your free items. Publish that one. And then from here, I'll add new. And we'll say your lost and found. Bam. That is super easy to do. And then if I come over here and refresh, you see that all of these have been added to the top. That was super simple to do. And now that I look at this, maybe later I'll center this in the middle, but let's first see what it looks like when we add the wish list and think that maybe this is too far off to the side. We can always go ahead and deal with that. Cool. So let's start building these out. That's going to be fairly simple to do. We'll build one, and then guess what? We can duplicate it and then just go change a couple of fields in those modules, those loop modules that we'll be using. So let's come back here and go to account, and we will start with for sale. So I'm going to edit that, and then I'll activate the Divi builder. And we shall build from scratch. And now we can get going. When we come back here and take a look, and that is our site here, and we go to the for sale posts, let's see what we did here. And basically, it looks like I've got 2 rows with archive loop and a title and some descriptive text. And then at the bottom, I've got my create a new post area. So let's come back here. We'll add one single column row. First, we'll add a text module for a title for the page. I'm going to this time switch things up and make this a H2. And we shall call this your for sale items. And go ahead and save that. And then we'll add the text. And as you guys know, I prefer to put all my content on the page and then I'll go edit it. And I'll do this section by section this time. So I copied that lorem ipsum text. If you don't have it, go to loremipsum.io or just get it from the demo site. I'm going to add another text module and I'll just paste that in there. And let's go visual now so we can see these items. Now I'm going to add finally an archive loop module. And we already know that we are adding classifieds. We are going to be using our classifieds loop here. There we go. And we can go a bit further down. We'll go to the loop options, and we want to make sure that this is only published posts. And now here is going to come a big differentiator from what we did on the other archive pages that we built out before for the for sale and for the free stuff or for the lost and found that's in the header of the site. We are going to say post display type, and you want to display only the current user's posts, okay? Now, what that does basically, this is where the magic sauce with Divi Machine Accounts comes in. It just looks at who is looking at this page, and it just kicks back whatever post that specific user has created. So, okay, so that was the big thing. Now, what we also want to do is we want to only show certain post types. But before I do that, I just want to quickly come back here to the main options and just point this out one more time. We're not doing this in this course, but if you wanted to create a layout for when there's no posts there, maybe you want to have a box that says create a post or something like that. You would go ahead and select that over here. You can see our classifieds loop in the Divi library is there already. So all you would need to do is go create that and save it to the Divi library. So continuing on, we'll come here and make sure that we're only including the terms that we want to show on here. So basically that means is we can scroll down and say, choose our taxonomy, and then choose only certain taxonomy values. Now, if we go back here to our classifieds categories, remember those slugs that we created, that is what you want to copy and go paste right over here. So get that in there. That is pretty much all you would need to do. We will also do the sorting to be in a descending. So that's going to show the most recent posts first, and then going down back in time. Now, when we come to the element options, we can give it the option to show results. We can, have options for the display more. For this particular use case, I think let's add a button this time. Then, of course, you can modify the text. You can say, show more classifieds, or whatever, it's really up to you. But when you scroll down, you can see, okay, cool, the button does say show more classifieds. And you can also change the loading text if you wanted to. There's just a bunch of stuff you can do. So in the grid options, we're going to want to make some changes. I like masonry personally. I just want to show you guys different ways to do things. We're going to go with our standard 3 columns. Good, that's looking nice. And on tablet 2, mobile 1, I think that's perfect. Now, also, I want to show you something else. You can affect the different gutter spacing. Now, you won't always see this live on the page, but you remember how we created spacing on the loop when we created it, and we took the spacing from the top and the bottom from the row and the section? This is another way that you could go ahead and affect changes to the gaps. I'm going to reset that, but I wanted to make you aware of that there's 2 ways to control spacing within Divi Machine of your actual loop items, Great. So I think that is going to be what we want to do. And then, it looks odd with this extra one down here. I actually just want 2 rows. So what I'm going to do on the main options here is I'm going to tell it, it's loop options on general. I only want to see 6 posts. And then the user would have to click show more classifieds, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so I think that this is starting to look exactly how we want it to look from that perspective. Luckily, when you build a very good loop layout, it kind of negates the need to have crazy design settings here for it. Of course, you can go ahead and style the button and stuff like that, which we actually will do. Now let's do that now, and then we'll style up that text, and then we're going to add another section here called your sold items, right? You want to see those as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So just for the button, I think you know what we're doing here. We're just going to come down and control that button radius. So we're going to activate the hover settings. We'll turn that into 50. And now when we hover, it only has that button. And I am going to leave it with the arrow because I want to show that little bit more interactivity for the user, differentiator from these buttons we have up here. And it looks like my loop is not rendering right here. So we will go and fix that in the loop in a little bit. Cool. So save that. That's good. Now for the title here, we shall go to design. Oh, I need to make sure I set this as a H2. We'll go to design. We'll go to the heading settings. We'll go to H2. We're going to go with bold, and we will use our blue color. I will set this to, let's try 38. And I can see that it's not updating here. And again, this is just some visual builder kinks. We shall quickly take a look up here with that saved. I'll come up, and then let's go ahead and click on your for sale. And okay, so that didn't work. And I think I know what happened here. Let's go back here, and I'm going to open up the header. And, just to articulate, the header is not the way that we styled it right now, right? And then also it says, oh, well, there's no posts there. But we know they are, right? So let's go back here. This looks like it created the P tag, even though I said H2. Divi is great, but it's not always perfect. So when I put the H2 in, I can see that this updates to show exactly what I want. So we'll save that. And coming down here, I'm almost certain I used the wrong category. You guys got to be careful of this. I use this product every day, this plugin, and I still make mistakes like this. So, Here, where we're on choose your taxonomy, we actually need to go ahead and select classified category. So make sure you do that. And we'll save it up now and then go take a look. And there we go. Now we've got our posts on here. I guess we only have 6 in the database. So that load more button will only show when there are additional ones that you want to show. So there we are. Cool. So now we just want to add another section over here. And I'm going to fix that text right now, actually, also. But then after that, we're going to add the sold section. So let's come back up here. And one thing we actually also need to do, now that I mentioned sold, we need to exclude sold, right, as the type. So we actually don't even use the category here. We're going to use that ACF value for status and just put for sale in. So it's important that I show you guys these things because it's kind of like mistakes will be made and you guys are going to go through this and sometimes realize too late that, yeah, maybe the category is not the right way to filter through the data. It is better to go through some other types of taxonomy that you created. So I'm going to come back and over here, I'm going to go onto my archive. Classifieds, all that stuff is good. We go to the loop options and now we can go include terms. And all we want to do here is we're going to delete for sale out of here. And we are going to select the ACF field. We'll select status. And now all we do here is we go look at what our slugs were for that status. So I will come back here. I'll go to custom fields. We can edit the group. And on status, let's just check what that value is. And for sale, it's just the word sale. So that's what you're going to put in here. So you type in sale, that's the value. Save that. And then let's quickly fix our text up here to look beautiful the way that we have been styling things thus far. I'm going to make that our light font weight. I'm going to give it that gray color, and we'll just bump this up by 2 notches to 16 pixels and save that. Now let's take a peek. Okay, so now we've only got our for sale ones in here. We have our text looking great, and now we move on to the sold items. That's going to be super simple. All we're going to do here is we're going to duplicate the section. We will go modify our text to just say your sold items, right? Sold space. We don't need to change anything else, so I'll just open this up. What I will do, though, is I'm going to remove my top margin here, just so that this is scooched up a little bit closer to this up here. And then, of course, we need to go ahead and edit this text. And then, of course, we need to go and modify this loop to only show the sold items. So we go to loop options, include terms. We come down here and we can double check and see, okay, well, sold is just simply sold. So that's the value we add in here. We'll save that. We'll update the page. And now when I hit refresh, great. We can see our sold items are right down here. That's awesome. The only one thing, like I suspected, there's too much space between these two, right? And another thing, we've got this footer that is kind of creeping up on the content. So I'm going to add new post button on the bottom. So let's come up here. I'm going to edit the section spacing. And I'm just going to put at the top 0 pixels. And then for this section, I'm going to put 0 pixels for the bottom padding. So 0. That's going to move things up a little closer to each other. And then I am just going to go ahead and duplicate this section because then I'll include that top padding. I'm just being lazy, quite honestly. And then we'll just delete most of this stuff out. Let's see what we did over here. Scrolling down, it just says create new post. So we're going to do a 2-column row for that. So let's just delete that out and we'll modify the columns to have what looks like 75%, 25%, or maybe that's 2/3, 1/3, whatever floats your boat for this. And all we need to do is just say create a new classified, and simple as that. That's all we'll do. Maybe ... And then I'm going to add a button over here. I'll put that in there. And the link we'll use, of course, is the same one we used here on the front end in the header. So I'll just copy link address from there just to save myself some time to go look that up. You can say, okay, create, something different because you're already indicating that you're creating a new classified post. And then I'll just put the link in here. Bam, I'll save that up. And then for the section background, I'm going to go and make that our off-white color. And let's go see what that looks like on the front end. It looks like this is very much scooched up against this. And that is probably just because of the button. That's probably not going to be there if there's, not enough posts to show it. So when we go ahead and save this up, I'll come here to the top. I'll hit that save button again, just to be sure. And then I'll come on the front end and refresh my page and scroll down. And yeah, we can see that the spacing's fine. Everything's looking good. We're happy with that. Now, if this spacing here is still way too much for you, we can actually come back here and move this guy right into that same section. We can delete this one, and then we can go ahead and update the page. And then here on the front end, I'll do my refresh. And you can see that it's scooched up quite a bit. I'm pretty happy with that. It just creates a nice bigger break here between the two. And but if you wanted more spacing, you can of course go and work with the row padding. And then if even then you're not happy, you can start playing with margin. But yeah, no, you kind of want to break. So maybe if you want to do something different, you could put I don't know, like an image there or a divider, whatever you feel like doing. This is your world. Now, one other thing, let's just make sure that this layout looks fantastic on mobile. So, of course, you can use the Divi tools, but my favorite way to do this is inspect the page and then activating mobile view mode and scrolling down. Let's just check it all out. Everything is looking good so far. Let's see. Yeah, view post. Everything seems to be working appropriately. And that's centered there. Okay, cool. So any changes you want to make for mobile, you can go ahead and do that way. But I'm pretty happy with the way it's looking. Our loop is great. Good stuff. Cool. So the only other thing that I noticed is that these buttons on mobile, the text isn't centered and they go full width. So we'll quickly take a look at that header before we move on to round this out by adding the other two layouts for our other categories. Let's go do that right now. And I'm just going to go back to my accounts and I'll open up the navigation here and let's actually put it in mobile view. And then we can go in here and take a look. We'll go to design and then we'll go to this will probably just be the button settings. We already have custom settings in here. Scroll down, no alignment there. So it's probably going to be in the actual text. So we can just here tell it for the mobile view. We want the text center aligned, and there you go. That looks better. Cool. So that was fairly simple to do. And then module text and all that stuff, you can play with that, but I'm happy with that. So on desktop, let's just take a look and make sure, yeah, everything is fine now. So I'm going to save that. And let's just make sure that our change did happen on the front end as well. Let's inspect that page. Okay, so here it didn't make that change. So let's go back one more time because maybe it says, no, we want you to actually do it on the module text. So let's come down here and center that, update. And let's try this one more time. I'll hit that refresh button. And there you go. Now it's in the middle. So, sometimes it's trial and error with these things, but there's always a way to fix it. So that's the happiness right here. So cool. We're done with this layout and now we can move on. And very easily, we're going to go ahead and fix this up in no time by just using the layouts that we just created. That's going to be so nice and simple to do. So we'll just go into your free items. We'll enable the Divi builder. And I'm always just so impressed, guys, by the way, that we are using the Divi builder to do these advanced things without needing to code. I just find it so convenient, and it really does give anybody the power to become a web developer. Okay, so enough about that. Clone existing page. We'll hit on choose. Hit on choose sounds like the girl in a bar. No, we are going to click on choose. And we'll just select the account pages, and we're going to select that for sale page that we just created. So we'll load that on in and open up the visual view. And here we have almost everything already. We just need to delete out that first section that it automatically adds in there. For sale items, that is not going to be that anymore. It's going to be your free items, or just, yeah, your free items. I like that. Free stuff. Oh, well, your free stuff is probably even better. There we go. And now you would change anything else as it pertains to free stuff. Maybe you want a different background. Maybe you want different images, whatever. You're free to do that. I am, just for the sake of simplicity, keeping my design the same for all of these. So on this layout, or the archive loop module, we are still going to stay with classifieds, but now we need to tell it, okay, now we only want the free stuff and then the stuff with the gone state, right? So we will just control that from the loop options, include terms, and then down here where we've got status. And if we hop back here to our classified fields, open up status field, we have free, simply just free, and gone are our two statuses that we're going to be working with. So I will just say free, right? Go ahead and save that. And then I'll come down to my gone items. Gone items. So that basically is just to indicate that somebody picked it up and it's gone. So we can change that. That's just a text label. And then we'll edit the archive loop again. And here on content, we'll scroll down to the loop options, include terms. And now we just need to filter out everything and only show our gone items. Great. Now we're going to keep this create new classified, all that fun stuff. So we can go ahead and update this. I'll hop on the front end and I'm going to click on your free items. There we go. Free items. And down here, we've got our gone items. So easy to do. And as you guessed, we're done with this page and we can move on to the next one. So let's do that. So we'll go back to all accounts. We are going to go open up the lost and found, edit that page, enable our Divi builder. And we are going to clone from an existing page yet again. And we can pick anyone, really. We'll just go with your free items. We'll use this layout. And again, we'll just delete out that first section it inserts for us. And then we can just go ahead and say your lost items. We'll modify our archive loop again. And all we need to do is come down here to loop options, include terms. And basically, again, we just double check on our field here. We have lost and found are the two states or the two values that you can select there. So we will firstly go with lost, since that is what we have up here. We'll save that. We're not making any other changes here. For gone items, we will say, of course, found items. And this is going to be the last loop we need to edit for now. And we just come down to main, loop options, include terms, and found. And this is the last time we need to edit that archive loop for the basic Divi machine classifieds course. We're almost there, guys. How awesome is that? Okay, let's refresh the page. Oh, that's not even a refresh. I need to click on your lost and found. Okay, your lost items. There's zip. There's all the lost items. There's 5 of them, and found there's 2 items. So that is good, guys. We have fully built out all of our different My Account areas here. The most important things you need to note here, again, is with the archive loop, when it's in My Account, you're going to want to make sure that you are only showing, you're in the loop options, current users' posts. You don't want to show all the other users' posts. You want to focus on that singular user. So keep that in mind. That is by far the most important bit here. And then, you just can create as many or as little custom endpoints as you want up here. They can have any function. It could be a welcome splash screen. It could be instructions. It could be a special download because they registered for the site. That's going to be entirely up to you. And everything that you put in here is going to be specific to that user as long as you make that selection. All right, guys. So there we have it. We have built out additional custom endpoints for our Divi machine classified site, and it looks fantastic. It wasn't that hard to do. All we needed to do was build out one, add those filtering options by selecting to only include certain statuses of our classified posts. So next up, we're going to be covering the wishlist feature, adding that in. So we do need to do a couple things to facilitate that, and we'll be working with our loop again. So I'm going to catch you guys in that lesson real soon.